Hi. So wrapping up our module on identifying bibliographic info. So hopefully you figured out through the past week and a half that identifying bibliographic, the point of being able to identify bibliographic info is so that you can use that information to create a citation so that you can give credit back to the original creators of resources that you're using and also tell other people how to accurately find those information and what it is. So with this, we've gone over kind of the basics of books, articles, and websites, and that is not the full extent of all sources that you can use. Really, anything can be a source. You can look at original pieces of art and music and video production, and you have different things like pamphlets and posters and infographics and images and things like that. But they all kind of come back to these 5 same principles of who, what, when, where, and then if it's an electronic website, how did you access it? So no matter what you're looking at, it has those 5 elements. Books, articles, and websites are typically just the most common resources students do use and cite for research. However, in my experience as a librarian and in teaching this class, sometimes students really get confused about electronic resources, particularly the difference between electronic books, electronic articles and e-journals, and websites, and how you cite that information, or if you are creating something or creating a citation for one of these items, how do you tell what information that you're pulling? Lots of times I see students cite information on the page that they don't have to include, that is not part of that bibliographic who, what, when, where. And so it's really extraneous information that isn't needed to create a citation telling someone this is this resource, this is what it is, and this is how you'd go back and get to it. So looking at some of this, what we're going to do in the next few videos is give you some examples of common mistakes students make in identifying what is the difference between an e-book, an e-journal/article that has publication info you need to cite as a journal article, or something you can cite just as a website. So if you are using the library to do your research and to find resources, which in this class we're going to go pretty in depth on using library specific resources. So anything you're finding on the library website through this Primo, which I've been showing you some of the records from in the past week, or any of our other electronic databases. Typically this is something published that is going to be cited as a book or an article. Very, very, very few things coming off of this page that you're going to get to would just be websites only. In fact, I can't think of anything that would just be a website only. Everything here is really published information. You're just accessing it electronically. So just because it's electronic and on a computer screen does not mean it needs to be cited as a website. So you have to really start thinking of, what is this I'm looking for? Is it a book? Is it an article? Or does it fall under that website? And so we're going to go over that a little bit. Another thing that can confuse some students, everything you're getting through the library, you can get to through Google. But if you go through Google, it's going to ask you to pay for it, especially if you're off campus. To get to library resources that you've already paid for with your tuition, you got to come through the library website. That's going to link you into the library's paid for subscription to these databases and electronic resources. We spend about $1 million a year on electronic resources, and so you do have to be a current student to access those from off campus or anywhere outside where you're not using the UNCP internet. And so make sure if you're looking for library resources, come through the library website. If you're finding things through Google and it's asking you to pay for it, come talk to a librarian. Never pay for things. So we don't want you to do that. Most likely we do have access to it, or if we don't have access to it, we can get you access to it. So come chat with us and we'll be happy to see if it's something that we can get for you. So don't pay for things online. Okay, so this is kind of an intro video that we're doing right now. What I'm going to show you in the next 3 videos following this are kind of the basics of who, what, when, where for identifying whether something is an ebook, an electronic journal, or just a website, and showing you some of the common ways these look when you're looking on the internet and looking at specific sites. So things to look for to help you identify that and how you would actually go about finding some of that info.